All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. The regular season is in the rear view and conference championships are upon us. We'll take a first look, making our early picks and line movement predictions for all 9 matchups. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, and I guess it's true, folks. Even blind squirrels can find a nut once in a while, as I'm coming off my first perfect card of the season, going 4-0 in rivalry week. And someone else who is also seeing the field at an all-time level heading into the postseason is the one and only Scott Bogman. Boggs, how are you coming off the final full slate of action?
Great. I'm doing great. Look, put us in the playoffs. Don't put us in the playoffs. I don't care. We'll sit at home and watch A&M lose the first time they play a game in the playoffs. We'll sit at home and watch Oklahoma have no offense in the playoffs. That's fine by me. My team beat both those squads. They beat Vandy as well. Look, people want to say, hey, look, you're punishing them for playing. They lost to Florida. I get it. Don't put them in. The same thing happened to Bama last year as well. Don't put them in. I don't care. Nothing can ruin my mood. I was 27 years old. 27 the last time A&M beat Texas. We didn't play them after they went to the SEC because they're little crybabies and didn't want to play.
Yeah.
So just little brother continues to be little brother. It's the way it will always be, Seth. So beating A&M is honestly, it's what matters to me. So I would love to snake in to the playoffs, specifically because it would upset everybody so much if the Longhorns did it. They're not going to do that, just like they didn't let Alabama in last year. They set the precedent last year. They're not going to change it for Texas this year. So cancel the Ohio State game next year and play Tennessee Tech. I don't care. Do whatever you want. But I just, nothing's going to ruin my mood. My record was great. Beat the Aggies. That's all that matters to me.
Well, I know it was just Thanksgiving week, but it felt like Christmas to you, I am sure. So very happy that you're in a great mood. I am as well. As the Penn State Nittany Lions, we're going bowling, baby, once again.
Let's go.
Really looking forward to this week as well, Boggs. This is always one of my favorite shows because we get to really put an emphasis on these G5 programs that I know I care a whole heck of a lot. I know there's that like whole sub niche of Twitter that cares a lot about these teams as well. And it's followed by bowl season, the college football playoff as well. I will say, though, this does feel a little bit like a weird year where a lot of these conferences feel like we didn't really get the best teams advancing. Like, pour one out to anyone who's a fan or a bettor of Miami, Toledo, they got left out, Western Kentucky, New Mexico, just to name a few. I feel like are some of those teams that I wouldn't really love to see playing.
They didn't win. They didn't get there. They were not left out. They had an opportunity to make it, and they didn't.
Well, I guess you're right. But I think there's something to like the eye test and seeing that these teams were probably the best. And some of the tiebreakers too. Like I'd like to see maybe a little bit of a refresh on some of these conference tiebreakers. It's just like some of these teams lost head to head.
They do seem very weird.
Yeah.
The common opponents and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe something a little more clear. You're right. But I mean, look. In the end, it's we won, they lost, we're in. That's it. Like no sympathy for anybody that didn't make it. Look, nobody's going to give Texas sympathy for not making it. Nobody gave Alabama sympathy for not making it last year, right? That's just the way it breaks. So win the games you put in front of you. And by the way, you do your own schedule. So
true.
So for the most part, your non-conference you have all the control over. So you can do that any way you want.
No sympathy for those left behind is Scott Bogman. He's on a warpath into the postseason.
It's me and Lane Kiffin. No sympathy for anybody left behind, right? So
get on the plane or you're not coming is what Scott's saying here. Today's program does look like this, folks. We're going to recap all the Week 14 action, the betting risers, the betting fallers. Plus, we'll give you an early handicap for every single conference championship matchup happening on Friday and Saturday. And as always, shout out to everyone who's still swinging with us on the BP YouTube channel or the audio feed. Thank you so much for all the support so far this season. Please do us a quick favor. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also, make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new so you don't miss a moment of CFB and NFL betting coverage for the rest of the way. Now let's go ahead and look back at what we learned from rivalry week. Navy beats Memphis 28-17 on Thanksgiving. Number 2, Indiana cruises past Purdue 56-3. Number 7, Ole Miss takes care of business against the Mississippi State Bulldogs 38-19 in the Egg Bowl before head coach Lane Kiffin departs for LSU. Georgia, they win but fail to cover against number 23 Georgia Tech in clean old-fashioned hate. Number 25 Arizona wins the duel in the desert 23-7 over the number 20 Arizona State Wildcats, or Sun Devils, excuse me. And then at number 13 Utah, they survive Kansas 31-21. Your number 16 Texas Longhorns, they upset number 3 Texas A&M 27-17 in the Lone Star Showdown. Number 1 Ohio State, they beat Michigan 27-9 for the first time in the last 4 years in the game. Number 5 Texas Tech, they don't blink against West Virginia 49-0. Number 6 Oregon wins and covers 26-16 against Washington in the border war. Number 8 Oklahoma, they squeak past LSU 17-13. Number 12 Miami, they upend at number 22 Pitt 38-7. We also had number 14 Vanderbilt. They keep their college football hopes alive with a 45-24 win over number 19 Tennessee. Cal upsets number 21 SMU 38-35, and really shaking up the ACC Championship Conference as well. And then we had number 10 Alabama outlast Auburn 27-20 in an Iron Bowl thriller for the ages. Boggs, betting risers, betting fallers for you in rivalry week.
Yeah, I mean, luckily 50% of these teams are removed from the pool now, right?
Yeah.
That we're done. All the bottom feeders are done. Bye-bye. So we like that. But, I mean, it's not surprising that Texas won, number 1, because of battered Aggie syndrome. They'll just, they can't have a perfect season all the way through. It's just the way the Aggies are built. But number 2, the Aggie schedule is also very, very... They played nobody in the SEC. For an SEC schedule, this is what it was before they faced Texas. Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, LSU, Missouri, South Carolina. So no Alabama,
no Georgia,
no Vanderbilt. Yeah, no Georgia. So they played all the bottom feeders in the SEC this year and wound up with this undefeated record. The first time they played somebody tough on the road, they lost. So because their road games at LSU, Missouri is a good squad, and they were very impressive against Missouri, 38-17. They're still a very good team, but it wasn't surprising. So I do look forward to betting against the Aggies in the playoff. That will be fun.
Yeah.
Utah with the big win. I mean, no one's surprised that Ole Miss won that game going away. Georgia Tech was a close, scrappy game like it has been the last few times as well. Indiana blew the doors off of Purdue, so no surprise there. I was surprised to see Arizona State get beat so bad. I thought that game was going to be closer and low scoring. I had the under. I was easily right about that because it was 48.5.
Jeff Sims experience, man. That's what you get, right?
Ooh, he is rough. Ohio State finally said, let's just play our game. Let's not try to get in the dirt with Michigan.
Right.
3 years ago, they couldn't beat them. Last year, they tried to beat them and embarrass them, and they got beat. So they just went with their own game and won. Texas Tech is by far the best team in the Big 12. We'll talk about that later. BYU, I don't understand. It's been like 6 weeks in a row, Seth, where the money has been on the team playing against BYU every week, and I have just swept up money laying the points with BYU. So love that. Tennessee's defense has been fraudulent all year. USC needed 2 more points to cover my spread. Those jerks didn't like that. And Pitt got beat just like they did when they played Notre Dame, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen there. I was surprised Washington played as close with Oregon and kept it low scoring, but Oregon obviously...
Yeah, we were on the team total under, right? So it played right into our hand with that one.
Yeah, we got that one. So, good week overall for betting. And like you said, we're seeing the field, just in time enough for the regular season to end and bowl games to reshape rosters. So, going to be more difficult once we get to the bowl games. But, of course, we're going to be here covering everything on a weekly basis, just like we do here.
I have to say, too, before we move forward, 2 things. First of all, can Ohio State be a riser? Because they feel like they while they haven't played, anyone sensational out of the Big Ten yet, Michigan was a really good competition for them. And I'm really happy for Ryan Day.
That was on the road too.
Yeah, and how they handled that. Like, it was a very win with humility type of situation. Michigan was saying you're not getting anywhere near the middle of the field. They're backing up the equipment trucks over it and everything. And like Bo Jackson, though, coming on strong is kind of giving this team that late closeout punch, the knockout that they needed. Carnell Tate is also become an absolute stud across from Jeremiah Smith. And I just want to say too, like, Ole Miss, they looked great in the Egg Bowl. Obviously, they're a faller for me moving forward because they won't have Lane Kiffin, likely not going to have some of that staff the rest of the way as well. And also, like, shame on Keith Carter, man, and everyone dunking on Lane, because, like, in my mind, I'm not blaming Lane Kiffin for this decision, because this is a product of a broken calendar we have in college football. And it's also not like he did not want to coach this team the rest of the way through. They wouldn't let him. So I think we need to go back to the drawing table.
You can't let him, though.
You can't?
No, you can't, because what he's going to do is sit there and recruit all your players for the next month to go into the transfer portal, because they get to leave whenever they lose. They don't have to go in the window. So you get all that time for him to talk, and they're in the same conference.
North Texas did it. Tulane did it.
Yeah, but they don't play in the same conference as their team is going to, and you're taking those guys anyway, right? Like, that's kind of when you're North Texas, when a guy leaves, he's taking his players anyway. You can't let them do that at Ole Miss. You cannot let him have this leeway to recruit for another team while he's handling your team, and recruit these players actively while he's coaching them. I understand Ole Miss throwing his stuff out into the street. You and I had this discussion. What
about everyone flipping off the plane and telling him to go F himself as he's flying off into the sunset?
There should have been more
Rouge.
People there.
Oh my gosh, you are ruthless.
You get this opportunity. You have this team at number 6. This is everything you've worked your life to get to. You're on the doorstep right there, and you're going to leave and go to LSU? I mean, look, Alabama's going to fire Kalen DeBoer in 3 years. Just go to Alabama when that job opens. So
apparently that's what he might have been waiting for.
Honestly, I think it probably should have been. So I understand it's more money than any other coach. It's the NIL guarantee. Like, it is the cushiest job that you can have.
Sure.
It's still a very difficult job, and they will run your ass right out of town if you don't win in the next 3 years, like they did to Brian Kelly. So I think he should have stayed at Ole Miss, but if you're Ole Miss, you cannot, this is not tenable. You cannot allow this dude to recruit all of these coaches and all of these players and drag them away. Yes, of course he wanted to coach, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. There's no way for it. So,
well, Lane, I appreciate you covering one more time for me in the Egg Bowl. That was a big win for the boys. So thank you for that. Good luck in Baton Rouge, baby. We'll talk about you next
Clemson
year.
Clemson week 1 next year, and they play at Ole Miss and at Tennessee.
I love it.
It's going to be fun.
I love it. Let's giddy up here, though, Boggs. Let's jump right in with the early picks and line movement predictions, starting with the Conference USA Championship game, which is kicking off from Jacksonville, Alabama at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Friday night. As CUSA games tend to do, we've already actually seen this one flip with the 9-3 Kennesaw State Owls now favored by 1.5 points over the 8-4 Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Both teams are 7-1 in conference play coming in. Jacksonville State, they beat Kennesaw State all the way back on November 15th, 35-26, and their only conference loss came against FIU a couple weeks ago. I was on them on the money line that day, and it was one of those where they just had the game in hand. They were about to go up 2 scores. They fumbled the ball. They lost the lead. They're going back down the field, and they fumbled it again. The Gamecocks are 6-6 ATS, heavily relying on their top 3 rushing attack, led by nation-leading running back Cam Cook and dual threat quarterback Caden Creel. The Owls, meanwhile, they're in this game despite being just their second year at the FBS level. It's been crazy. Kennesaw was a team last year, Boggs, we were really picking on in the betting markets. They're 7-4-1 ATS this season. They're led by quarterback Amari Odom, who he sits atop the CUSA right now in yards per attempt, completion percentage, and efficiency rating. His wide receiver 1, Gabriel Benyard, also not only leads the conference in receiving yards and touchdowns, but also return yards. This guy's a weapon on special teams. So, Boggs, where does the line head from here, and do you have an early play?
I think it's going to be on Jacksonville State. The money and tickets right now are on Jacksonville State, so I don't think it moves too much from this 1.5, right? But for me, We saw this game recently, November 15th. You mentioned it before, 35-26 this game. I don't know that much has changed here, but in that game, your boy Amari Odom threw 4 picks, and he has not thrown a pick since that game. So I think I'm going to lean towards Kennesaw State to win this game. I think the rain in this game that's projected could have it, it's rain with light wind, which rain with light wind means cornerback slipping, tacklers slipping, guys breaking tackles a little bit easier typically. So I lean towards the over more, but I think I kind of like Kennesaw State in this matchup. I think if we get the same type of performance without the 4 turnovers, because they had over 500 yards against Jacksonville State in the last game, I think Kennesaw can win this game, which is crazy to think about them coming into FBS last year and winning CUSA year 2, which is just crazy after all the changes they made. But they're on the doorstep right here.
Yeah, I will tell you this, that I have backed Jacksonville State 3 separate times this season. I'm 2-1 doing so, including that Kennesaw State game. I wanted to get invested fully with just taking him, especially with them on the other side of it, catching some points. However, I went a different direction. I actually already locked in the team total over 28.5 points because Kennesaw State's 98th ranked rushing defense is going to be no match for Cam Cook, man. This guy is the real dang deal. Like, he is absolutely awesome. He's going to make a Power 4 team very happy next year when he transfers out of Jacksonville State. And Kennesaw has been getting into these close, high-scoring games all year long because their defense absolutely is lacking. Jack State has cleared this number in 6 of 8 CUSA games. Also, Kennesaw State's last 3 games, their opponents have gone over this total, averaging 37 points in that span. So, Boggs, I just like Jacksonville State, especially with maybe a little bit of weather, to lean on their best players in Creel and Cook and go ahead and run it all over Kennesaw State. Can they keep it close? Can Kennesaw even win this game? I think they can. I'm with you there. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the team total. It's been one of my favorite markets to play in, most profitable markets all season long.
Conference championships, you never know which way it's going to go. And Cook has looked great. So this is not my favorite game, but I think without the turnovers, I'm going to take Kennesaw State. Okay. So I like that we're on opposite sides here.
Yeah, I like betting on good players, right? And I think Cook is the best player in this game. So that's where I'm going. Next, let's head to Harrisonburg, Virginia, where the Sun Belt Championship game also kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Friday night. The 19th ranked James Madison Dukes are between a 21.5 and a 22.5 point favorite against the 8-4 Troy Trojans. JMU undefeated in conference play, 8-4 ATS this season. They've won 10 straight games outright as well, and their head coach, Bob Chesney. This guy's one of the hottest names in the coaching cycle right now, and for good reason. JMU, top 10 in scoring offense and scoring defense. They also boast a top 6 rushing attack. They are led by a dual threat quarterback in Alonzo Barnett, who's combined for 33 touchdowns. They also have a running back by the name of Wayne Knight, too. He has gone for over 1,000 rushing yards. He also leads the team in receiving, so he's their do-it-all playmaker for them. Troy, meanwhile, they opened November on a bad losing skid, but they did rally to 2 straight wins to get to 6-2 in conference play and 8-4 ATS. Their quarterback is now Goose Crowder, who, great name, he took over midseason. The offense currently ranks 83rd in passing, 121st in rushing, so Troy very much winning with their defense. Boggs, this is one of those games where I think if it weren't for these Sun Belt divisions, we're probably looking at Old Dominion, right? Going up against JMU. I think that'd be a better game. Instead, Troy gets in. So I think they're going to get beat down in this one. It's just a matter of how do we bet it with such a big number being out there.
Yeah, extremely similar strength of schedule between Troy and James Madison. But the Dukes, there's so much better statistically on both sides of the ball. It's not really close. And Troy, it's not. They don't match up well here. And I'm going to use the Old Dominion game here, but specifically what JMU likes to do is they have the 6th best running game in the country. And they run the ball. They're 7th and 4th quarter scoring because they lean on you with time of possession.
Yes.
They run the ball down your throat, and then they break you at the end. That is what happens with James Madison in almost all the games that they played this year. The most recent loss for Troy to Old Dominion displayed their weakness against the run.
33-0, I think that one was.
351 rushing yards they allowed to Old Dominion in that game. They only gained 138 yards in that one as well, and no points, like you mentioned. And in their losses, they do get crushed offensively. 16, 7, 10 in the shutout. Those in their 4 losses, those are the point totals. So I hope this one comes back down to under 3 touchdowns. So what do you say it is right now? Because yesterday was 21.5.
Right now, the best you can get is 21.5 or a 22.5 if you wanted Troy.
So it looks like it just, it's not going the right way. I would rather take it at 20.5 or 19.5. I can get it below 20. I would want that there, but I like the team total for JMU. It's 34.5. That's what I want to go over. I want to go over 34.5.
I saw 32.5 floating around too earlier today.
Ooh, 32.5. Much better. Yeah. And look, this is a 10th highest scoring offense in the country.
Right.
They're averaging almost 40 points a game, 37.8. So they're right there anyway. I think they run the ball right down Troy's throat. And I think they go over this 34.5. And it's 32.5. Great. Get it there for sure.
Yeah, and we talked about it there in that blowout loss that Troy suffered to Old Dominion 33-0. JMU beat Old Dominion 63-27 back in October, right? So we're
talking about common opponents. Yeah.
Yes.
Beat down.
So that's why honestly, I'm probably going to go with the team total. If we can't get a 20.5, I'm going to be on the lookout, keep my head on a swivel. I suggest everyone else does as well. But if not, I'm okay with laying a big number with JMU. I just think this team is firing on all cylinders. And as of now, too, no movement for Bob Chesney, which could complicate matters. But hey, Bob, you still got a place up here in Happy Valley if you need a spot to crash for a couple weeks as you get settled in. Did that come out this morning? That come out this morning?
Yep. He's going to UCLA. Sorry, buddy.
Still coaching the rest of the year at JMU, huh? Still?
Yeah, okay. He gets this game, and then if they make the tournament. But if it's just a bowl game, he's gone. So
well, I think that means all roads for Penn State are leading to one other candidate. We'll talk about him a little bit later on in the program. Before that, though, today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. And big news, Hard Rock is now legal in the state of Michigan. Sign up today and place your first $5 sports bet, and if it wins, you not only get $150 in bonus bets, but you also get your winnings on top of that. If you're more into casino games as well, new customers can also get $1,000 back in casino bonus. And if you're not up money after the first 24 hours of playing slots, you're going to get that bonus and win money or get a casino bonus back. Plus, you're also going to get 200 in bonus spins with winnings paid in real cash. Not sure where to place your first bet on? No worries. Head over to the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub and it'll help you out. It's loaded with trends, streaks, and stats to help guide your picks. Numbers don't lie, and neither does the data in there. Hard Rock Bet offers new promos daily, plus big legendary reward drops every single Thursday, like gifts from under the tree. So whenever you're listening, just fire up the app and check out what they've going on for you. Go ahead and download the Hard Rock Bet app now and make your first deposit. A CFP spot is likely on the line in the American Championship that kicks off in New Orleans at 8 p.m. on Friday night. The number 20 North Texas Mean Green, they are 2.5-point favorites over the number 21 Tulane Green Wave. North Texas' head coach, Eric Morris, he has agreed to become the next head coach of Oklahoma State, but will remain in Denton here the rest of the way. We have the Mean Green, who are currently 7-1 in conference play, 11-1 straight up, 10-2 ATS as well, and they're the top scoring and total offense in the entire nation. Their freshman quarterback, Drew Mestemaker, what a story this guy's been. He leads the nation in passing yards, is fourth in passing touchdowns. His wide receiver one, Wyatt Young, is third in the country in receiving yards and first in the American in receiving touchdowns. Plus, they have a true freshman running back, Caleb Hawkins, who leads the AAC in rushing yards and the country in rushing touchdowns. Tulane, meanwhile, they're 7-1 in conference play, 10-2 straight up, but just 5-6-1 ATS. Tulane, they have a win over Duke back in September, but they also had a collapse in late October in a weekday game against UTSA. I was on that one. BYU transfer quarterback Jake Retzoff, he leads this team in rushing, and Tulane has ranked top 40 in total offense as a whole. Their head coach, John Summerall, he will move to Florida following the Green Wave season. Boggs, with Tulane's defense ranking 119th against the pass, I think I'm going to go right back. North Texas team total over, only 34.5 points. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, we love Jeff Retzlaff, right, or Jake Retzlaff, but North Texas has won us too much money for us to abandon ship right now. Tulane has had some impressive wins, though, right? Northwestern, week 1, so it's a long time ago, but Northwestern was way better than we thought. They're going bowling. So Northwestern, Duke is in the ACC title game. They beat them. They beat Army. They beat Memphis. And their strength of schedule has been much, much harder than what North Texas has faced. But they're very impressive, but that UTSA win was very weird, specifically against the pass, as you mentioned. And there are definitely reasons to be on board with Tulane, but this will probably be a little bit back and forth. I'm still on North Texas. Both coaches are gone next year, but they get to keep coaching through this game and any playoff run, as you mentioned before. I'm not as confident as I typically am on North Texas for this game, but I'm still confident, and I'm still going to lay the points and take the mean green here. So it's just the Tulane has been too up or down. North Texas offense is so balanced this year. Like typically they're a pass only team, but Hawkins has been so great, one of the better freshman running backs in the country. So it still has to be North Texas here to me. So I'm going to take North Texas, lay the points.
Oklahoma State next year, if they take Mestamaker and Hawkins, it will be fun. I will be on board with the futures market. I can already see it coming to fruition. But until then, Boggs, I'm with you. I really do like North Texas here. I'm a little bit gun shy ATS just because Tulane, they are an overall better defense than what North Texas has faced as of lately. They have those big wins, as you mentioned, against some Power 4 opponents as well. But I've been one of the few G5 media rankers over the past month or so, Boggs, that I've had North Texas number 1 for about 4 or 5 weeks now, and everyone else is still JMU heavy, being the best G5 team. I think
they played nobody. North Texas' strength of schedule isn't great either, but North Texas
Navy.
Is a much better team. And the only team that they lost to was South Florida in their prime, and that was they gave up way too many points, right? They've scored on everybody. So I just think they're going to continue that trend. I don't know that there's anybody that can stop this offense.
Yep,
maybe Ohio State, but not many other teams.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get into the CFP. I would love that for our friends over there in Denton. Let's go ahead and move forward, though, Boggs, because all roads in an underwhelming Mountain West leading to a conference championship game rematch from a season ago. It's kicking off Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time in Boise, Idaho. The 10-2 UNLV Rebels, they're catching 3.5 points against the 8-4 Boise State Broncos. Tiebreakers put both these teams at 6-2 in conference play over New Mexico and San Diego State, who a week or two ago looked like they might be in this game. UNLV, their 2 losses came against Boise and New Mexico in back-to-back weeks, putting them at 7-5 ATS. Their Virginia transfer quarterback, Anthony Colandro, this guy's been pretty dang good, leading the conference in passing yards and touchdowns, also rushing for over 550 yards and 8 scores on the ground. As a whole, UNLV 12th in scoring, 15th in total offense, but their defense outside the top 100, both against the run and the pass. Boise, meanwhile, their 2 conference losses, they came at the hands of San Diego State and Fresno State. It's unknown whether we're going to get quarterback Maddox Masson back. He originally went out earlier in the season and said his year wasn't over, but no indication whether he'll be up for this one. Maybe you have more on that, Boggs, but this still looks like a team that relies really on their backfield. It's now, instead of Ashton Genty, a 3-headed committee, but they are ranked 30th in rushing, and they have a top 30 total defense as well that is especially strong against the pass. So, Boggs, I've only bet the Mountain West a handful of times this season. I don't think I've cashed either of those times I have. So with limited information on the Boise quarterback situation, I'm not going to have a play in this one. Will you? And how do you think Madsen's availability could actually maybe affect the swing of this one?
So what I'm seeing right now is from Sean Goodwin of the Ohio Statesman is saying that Madsen is going to play this game on Friday.
Wow.
100%.
First time back in a while. Could be a little rusty.
Yeah.
But he's playing big games too.
Yeah, and oh man, that changes my whole outlook on this game, honestly, because we saw this matchup before. Yeah, it was 56-31. Boise State won this game. And look, they haven't looked the same without Madison. It's been rough without him. And for UNLV, the 2 losses that they've had is because they were outscored. And if Boise State can't move the ball, like if Madison is in and playing, but he's not 100%, I don't like that. So my instinct was easily to take UNLV in this game, right? Because just the offense does not look the same at all. But with Madison back, I do question it. But look, what I'm going to take here is the UNLV team total over 27.5. And it's because they have scored more than this in every single game that they played this year, right?
Wow.
And the one-score games have been very high scoring for them as well. They lost to Miami, Ohio, 41-38.
Right.
They they won that game 41-38. They beat Air Force 51-48. Utah State was 29-26. So, Boise State's defense allowed 31 against them before in this game. And that was in Boise. This isn't going to be bitter, aggressive cold. It's going to be cold. I would be freezing there because I am lived in Texas and Arizona my entire life.
You're soft. You're soft. Just say it. It's okay.
I'm soft for the. I'll deal with the heat. I am soft compared to you in the snow and the cold, man. I don't have to shovel that heat out of my driveway to go to work, so it doesn't bother me. But let's go with the team total over 27.5. They scored. They had 476 yards and 31 points with Madison in earlier this year. If they're going to hold the ball longer, I think they can put up more points. So that is what I'm going to go in this game. And I think this is, if Madison is back, like they said, what is the line right now? Because yesterday it was UNLV by 1.5. Is it even now? Is it
right now 3.5? 3.5 right now for UNLV.
3.5 for UNLV.
Yeah, they're catching at 3.5.
So I think everybody bet up UNLV because they thought Madison was not going to play. And then today we get this announcement. And this was, what time was this? This was 3 hours ago. We got this announcement. I think the money is going to go more towards Boise State. So I think if you want UNLV, let it get back down to 1.5 and take them, or just take them on the money line. I don't want to lay points because Boise State already beat the crap out of them earlier.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you're going to take UNLV, I think you do it while they're catching points. I think that's the play. I just don't feel good about, like, when's the last time UNLV's beat Boise? It's been a while, right? Like I feel like usually. Hold
on. Are you saying that Boise State is minus 3.5?
Yes, Boise State is minus 3.5 right now.
Oh, perfect. Okay, because yesterday it was UNLV minus 1.5.
Yes.
And today,
so
because of this news,
flipped.
Now it's 3.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Then I want UNLV.
Okay.
I think it's close.
4.5, 3.5. Yeah. Okay.
I like the over, but my favorite play again, and my pick is going to be UNLV over 27.5 because that was what it was yesterday.
Okay, yeah. I'm honestly surprised you're getting that number if they've cleared that in every game, right? So they must. I mean, it's a good Boise State defense, right? It's not a bad Boise State defense. It's very similar to last year's, but yeah. So, all right, we have one final G5 championship game that comes on Saturday at noon with the MAC championship getting underway at Ford Field, and we have the 7-5 Miami, Ohio RedHawks. They're catching 2.5 points against the 8-4 Western Michigan Broncos. WMU, they're 7-1 in the conference. Miami, they're 6-2. They won on tiebreakers over Toledo, over Ohio. So big bummer we couldn't have seen, the likes of Parker Navarro or Tucker Gleason in this one. Instead, we got Miami. They're 8-4 ATS this season, covering in 2 of their last 3 games, which has been impressive because they have been without the services of quarterback DeQuan Finn in that span. He left the program back in early November. And I got to tell you, though, I watched the entire Week 13 game against Buffalo when they had to go from the senior quarterback down to the sophomore Thomas Gostkowski.
Yeah.
This guy's something, man. This guy was slinging around against Buffalo. I don't hate him at all. He's much better than the guy they first brought in to replace Finn with. So overall, Miami 90th in total offense, 28th in total defense. That being said, Western Michigan, they came through for us last week. They covered against Eastern Michigan to get to 8-4 ATS. This is an old school team that wins by running the ball well at a top 32 clip. Also, they play elite defense. Last week in particular, I thought it was really interesting, Boggs. EMU, they had a 100% red zone conversion rate on the season. Well, we had Western Michigan. They turned them over twice inside the 20. Their dual threat quarterback, Brock Lowry, their running back, Jalen Buckley, they're a really fun combo to watch. So, Boggs.
Is he dual threat if he can't throw?
Okay. I think it probably still says in his scouting report he has dual threat, but maybe we call him a mobile-based quarterback. How about that?
It's a rushing attack.
Yes. Yes.
WMU.
So
yes.
With that being said, do you think that's enough to get them past Miami?
I do. And, look, this one to me is pretty easy. We did see this meeting before, and Miami won 26-17. But again, like you mentioned, that was with Finn. So the Miami defense is really strong. The WMU offense is putrid. They have one game over 400 yards the entire year, Western Michigan. So this is going to be a gross game, but I think it's going to be low scoring. And I think the recent change at quarterback has me worried for the RedHawks. Gostkowski, 25 for 47, 411 yards and 4 touchdowns with no interceptions. They were +3 turnovers against Buffalo. And then they played Ball State, who was the one team that gave up 400 yards to Western Michigan's putrid offense this year. Ball State is bad. So
I've made money on Ball State a time or two. I have a little respect for our friends over at Ball State.
All right. I didn't against Western Michigan, though. Yeah, I'm taking the running game in this one and the defense. The Broncos are laying, what would you say? It's 2.5 right now?
2.5.
Yeah. So I think this might drop actually towards 1.5 or maybe even a pick 'em because the money is on Miami right now.
Really?
So I might wait a little bit. We are showing this WMU by 3. We're also showing 41.3 as the total, which would be under what I had the total at last night at 43.5. So I like the under, but I like Western Michigan a little bit more just because of the recent change on the offense. And this is a huge game for Gostkowski to walk into against the best defense he's going to have played by a lot so far. So I think they do enough to confuse him and get the win here.
Yeah, I love what I saw out of WMU last Tuesday, and a couple trends that support them in this one as well, Boggs. 5-1 ATS as a home team. They're also 5-1-1 ATS as a favorite. Miami is 1-4 ATS as a dog. WMU 5-2-1 ATS in conference games. Also 4-1 ATS with a rest advantage. Again, they played on Tuesday. Miami, they played later in the week. So Lance Taylor, he's done a really good job coaching his tail off this year. So I'm excited for him to get his in this one. I will be laying the points with Western Michigan, maybe taking them on the money line. Official pick will come Wednesday for me, so be on the lookout for that. But I'm definitely going to have Western Michigan on this. And Boggs, I like what you're saying. If we can get the shorter lane in the week, let's wait.
Yeah.
And another way you guys can make sure you're taking advantage of everything we have here at BettingPros is by downloading the BettingPros app. You can track your bets, you can stay accountable, and you can also level up. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major books in just one simple spot. It's that easy, folks. You can monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and even parlays. Create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. New users, you can get yourself 6 months of BP Premium for free with your first deposit and wager at any of our partner sportsbooks. Learn more at bettingpros.com/premium. Also on at noon from Jerry World in Arlington is the Big 12 championship game with the 11th ranked BYU Cougars catching 13.5 points against the 5th ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders. Both these teams are 11-1 straight up, 8-1 in conference play, with Texas Tech winning at home 29-7 back on November 8th against BYU. BYU, meanwhile, they found themselves down against UCF on Saturday. They came back to win that game 41-21, pushing them to 9-3 ATS. Their head coach, Kalani Sitake, he's the hottest name up here in Happy Valley right now. Might be the next Penn State head coach. The Cougs, they come in with a top 25 scoring offense led by a dynamic rushing attack. They have their true freshman quarterback, Bear Bockenmeyer, just running over people. Their running back, LJ Martin, a really good back. He's leading the conference in rushing. Texas Tech, they have steamrolled this entire conference, though, to get to 10-2 ATS. Their only outright loss came back against Arizona State on October 18th. They were without their services of the quarterback Baron Morton in that game, so the fifth-year senior. He leads the conference in completion percentage, efficiency rating, and yards per attempt. He's backed by a really good elite wide receiving core. Also has a sophomore running back, Cameron Dickey, who's come on in the scene for over 1,000 yards, leads the conference in rushing touchdowns. Their top 3 scoring offense is met by a top 3 scoring defense that's very, very suffocating against the run. So Boggs, I think they complete the story. I think it's another runaway in the Big 12 championship game for the second straight year. However, I would love to get a better number. Is 13.5 the best we're going to get?
Well, let me ask you this, all right? We saw Texas Tech lose to Arizona State. You know what their next closest Big 12 game was?
Is it BYU?
It's BYU, who they beat by 22 points.
They're
the last
lagging,
time
man.
They matched up. This is the class of the Big 12 is Texas Tech. And, the problem for BYU in that game, look, holding Tech to 29 points is kind of an accomplishment, right? They held them to only 368 yards, and they made them settle for 5 field goals in that game. The problem is they couldn't move the ball. It's 67 rushing yards. They're averaging almost 200 per game, and they had 67 rushing yards. So wow. I just don't see where BYU makes a significant enough change to beat Texas Tech right now with the way that Texas Tech is playing. So, if we don't want to, if this number is too much for us, and, look, our numbers are showing significant value towards BYU. And performance-wise, I get that. I definitely do. But I just don't think they're going to be able to move the ball very well here. And, it was 22 points. I think their next closest game have all been 24-point wins for Texas Tech, right? They beat every non-ASU opponent by 22 points or more. So Texas Tech's defense is what wins this. I also like under 17.5 for BYU. I hate
that. Yeah.
They're very, very physical and one-dimensional, and it has beaten everybody else in the Big 12 because the Big 12 is to spread them out. And, it's basically a TCU conference of let's spread them out. Let's, confuse them. Let's throw the ball as much as we can and score points that way. That doesn't hold up against physical teams like Texas Tech. We saw it in the national championship between Georgia and TCU, right? Georgia beat the brakes off of them. They couldn't handle that physicality. So I think that's the mismatch that we're getting here as well. I think Tech wins this one going away, but the safest play to me is BYU under 17.5. So I'll roll with that one.
Yeah, I'm okay with that play. Do you think we can wait and get a better number? Or do you think 13.5 is probably get it while you can?
I don't think it's going to get much better than that because money and tickets are on Tech at this number.
Okay.
And it was 12.5 yesterday. So
fair. Yeah, I do think it's just the limited capabilities of BYU, and you kind of said it. I think that's a good comparison. Is they're kind of more like a Big Ten team, right? Just how they've been playing with defense and running the ball. So I think Tech will.
And TCU did beat Michigan that year, right? To get to the national championship, which is a physical team, but that team had no passing offense, and this team does. So
hopefully we get a better championship this year than we did that year. That was terrible, man. That was terrible. Let's go ahead and move forward where we have College Game Day, who will be camped out at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta for the SEC championship game that kicks off at 4 p.m. Eastern time. The third-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, they are 1.5-point favorites over the 10th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Both these teams 7-1 in conference play. Georgia's only loss came to Alabama at home, 24-21 on September 27th. Alabama, their only loss came to Oklahoma at home on November 15th. Georgia, they have not been very profitable to back this season, sitting 5-7 ATS. The Ducks have a top 28 rushing offense and are also top 13 in total defense, but are more effective really at stopping the run. They're kind of still struggling to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. I said the Ducks, I meant the Dogs, but despite being upset in week 1 against Florida.
I thought you were rednecking that word like me. The Dogs. I thought you were saying it like that. I was like, did I hear Ducks? Okay, sorry.
No, maybe we should. Maybe I gotta start really emphasizing the Dogs on there.
The Dogs.
Yeah, a little Bulldog action down there. And despite a week 1 upset to Florida State, Bama, they've been 8-4 ATS on the season as a whole. They have been really, really banking heavily, though, on their top 20 aerial attack, led by quarterback Ty Simpson, and a top top 12 total defense. We also saw Jam Miller go down against Auburn. I don't know if he came back to that game or not. This is the 6th time these programs will play for a conference title. And Boggs, I'm going to be honest, I want nothing to do with this game, right? Like, I finally got back on the right side of Bama last week. I got all the money back that I lost in week 1 with the Florida State game. So I'm off this one. Do you have an early prediction and maybe even a tell on where the line's going to move?
I have no idea which way the line is going to go, right? Because tickets are on Georgia, money's on Bama right now. So it's split like it should be, kind of like you are right now in this game. Internally, I'm split, so I don't want to take a side. For me, I just look at the way these teams have been playing since this last matchup, which obviously Bama won, right? But since that game, really since Alabama pulled off the miracle against South Carolina, they should have lost that game. Yes. Right. But since that game, they haven't been really great, right? The 20 points at home against LSU, only 280 yards at Auburn last week, sandwiched by the loss to Oklahoma and then the cupcake of Eastern Illinois. Like these are the games that we've seen from Alabama recently. Georgia's rattled off 8 straight wins, including wins against Ole Miss, Texas, and Georgia Tech. The defense has been really strong since the Ole Miss win, and they haven't allowed anyone to score more than 21. So I like these teams to play conservative. I like this to be whoever is hotter right now, and that's Georgia. So I trust Kirby in a spot like this as well, more than I trust Kalen DeBoer now. So
very fair.
Give me the dogs. I'll lay the 1.5.
Okay. Also, we had the ACC championship game kicking off at 8 p.m. Eastern time from Bank of America Stadium in the great city of Charlotte. The number 16 Virginia Commodores, they are 3.5-point favorites against the 7-5 Duke Blue Devils. Duke, they really backed their way into this game. They're 6-2 in conference play. Meanwhile, UVA 7-1 against the ACC, including a 34-17 win over Duke on November 15th. The Blue Devils actually ranked top 12 in passing. Their quarterback, Darren Mensah, he is coming over from the G5, and now he is leading the conference in passing yards and passing touchdowns. They do struggle to run the ball quite a bit, though, for Duke. And despite this team being coached by Manny Diaz, one of the best defensive minds in college football, they are outside the top 110 in total defense this year. So kind of really a flip-flop from what they've been the past few seasons. UVA, meanwhile, they have been equally impressive on the offensive side of the ball, but they're a bit more balanced, right? They are led by quarterback Chandler Morris and ACC leading rusher, running back Jamari Taylor. Their defense also much better than Duke's by all accounts and metrics. So Boggs, the number gives the edge to UVA, right? Like everything I've seen this season, I bet against Duke a lot. I've made a lot of money. I think you have too. I think Virginia is the better team. That being said, like, you know how things get in the ACC. I'm actually kind of hoping the Duke can win just so maybe we can get another G5 team in the playoffs. Of course you are.
So, this is kind of what you were talking about and last week, and I completely spaced that. Yes, it is the higher seeded conference champion, not because I was just like in my mind when every time I looked, I was just putting the ACC champion in there. You know, usually it was Miami though. Look, this game, man, it's Virginia. Like, we've seen this dance already, right?
Yeah.
You can root for Duke, but you can't pick them. You're not going to put your money on Duke.
No
right.
way.
So let me just give you some of the stats from the last time these two teams played, right?
Sure.
And it was November 15th. So not long ago, right?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
540 yards for Virginia. 316 on the ground, or 316 through the air, 224 on the ground to 255 for Duke. Time of possession was 35-58 to 24-02. 22 first downs for Virginia, 11 for Duke. 12 of 19 on third down, 4 for 15 for Duke. 4 sacks to 0. And this is with Virginia having 2 turnovers and being down a turnover because they had 2 picks. Duke fumbled it once, so they led in turnovers as well. Duke did, and they could still not even hold the ball for 25 minutes against Virginia. This is going to be a beating. As long as Chandler Morris is healthy, he looked good last week. Virginia is going to beat Duke into the ground, I think, and I'm just going to continue with what we've already seen here.
Okay, yeah, that is absolutely fine. I think you're on the right side of it. The ACC just scares the crap out of me, man. I've not had a ton.
It's been weird.
It has been, man. It is turning into the Big 12 of previous seasons is how it kind of feels to me. So let's go ahead, though. Let's close out the show with a battle between the unlikeliest of undefeated teams in the Big Ten championship game that is kicking off at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday from Lucas Oil Stadium. The top-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, they're 5.5-point favorites against the second-ranked Indiana Hoosiers. And it's been a stellar season for Sig Signetti once again. But the storyline has really become this quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who leads the entire country right now in passing touchdowns. He has two wide receivers, Omar Cooper Jr., Elijah Surratt as well, who are tied for leading the conference in receiving touchdowns. IU 7-5 ATS, and they rank second in scoring and fifth in total offense. They're also second in scoring defense, fourth in total defense. There's not really a weak spot that I can find with IU. And the same can be said for the Ohio State Buckeyes, right? They're 10-1-1 ATS. If you bet Ohio State every single week, you've been rolling it. They're top 13 in scoring, 24th in total offense as well, and then first in both scoring and total defense. Their quarterback, Julian Sayin, this guy is slinging the ball around right now. He currently leads the country in completion percentage and sits third in passing touchdowns. Their wide receivers, Jeremiah Smith, he is tied with the IU receivers in touchdown receptions for the lead in the conference. And Carnell Tate, this guy's pushed himself into the top 15 of the NFL draft, I think. I think he's going to probably be the wide receiver 2 of this class behind Jordan Tyson. Their true freshman running back, Bo Jackson. This is a guy who slowly got brought along. He was the third, fourth guy to begin the season. He now almost has 1,000 yards on the year. You had Travion Henderson. You had running backs like J.K. Dobbins before him. He looks like the next guy in Ohio State history that's going to make his mark. Boggs, this really could be the national championship game, and I hope it is come January 19th. So I will wait to get invested then. What about you for this week?
Yeah, I think you and I were talking about this game a little bit before we started recording. Does either of these teams have incentive to put their best foot forward outside of like getting Julian Sander, Mendoza?
You're telling me Sig Signetti does not want to win the conference title?
I'm not saying they don't want to. I of course you want to win, but I mean, this isn't the national title game. And I think if either of these teams loses, they still get a bye, in my opinion. So,
yeah, probably. If it's close.
So it's not motivation, right? You want to win the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. You want to have that on your mantle. You want to be the number 1 seed. Whoever wins this game is getting that, right? So, but I do think it matters in scripting your game and being conservative before you have a playoff run for both of these teams. So I kind of like the under in this game, just as
that's kind of
we're not picking a side.
Yeah.
We're not picking a side, Seth. We're going, I don't know who is going to win this game, but I do know that both these teams are probably going to run the ball a lot and play it close to the vest. You're not going to break out a bunch of tricky plays or situations that you've been, waiting to use whatever in this opportunity, right? You're not going to do that in this game because you don't want other teams having it on film to practice and plot against. So I think for both these teams, yes, you want to win. These are two great teams. But there's two things here. Number one, let's go with the under because we don't know which side is going to win, and we know they're both going to probably play it a little bit conservative, right? Mm-hmm. So going for it on fourth downs is different than, unleashing your entire playbook. So maybe we see teams go for it on fourth and short more because it also matters less. Like you can take those risks in a game that matters less. So I do think that both these teams play conservative, but also, you know what the closest game Ohio State has had all year?
Michigan? No.
Texas.
Illinois? Oh, yeah, Texas.
14-7. Yep. They beat down everybody else. I think 24-6, the 18-point win against Washington, and then they beat Illinois 34-16. Those are the next two closest games. Indiana also undefeated, but they had that tight game that they should have lost to your boys, Penn State.
Yeah, right.
And Iowa gave them a scare earlier this year as well. So, if we're splitting hairs on both these two, number one, number two upper echelon teams, plus we couple that with the fact that Ohio State beat down Indiana last year. I'm going to take the Buckeyes here and lay the points.
Okay. Yeah, I really want to get on the under. Like 48.5 feels like a big number for these teams. But at the same time, I mean, we just went over the playmakers, right? You have Surratt, you have Omar, you have two of the best wide receivers in the country for Ohio State and Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, you trip over yourself, and one of these teams could score that.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah. And Bo Jackson now is starting to break out. So, like, I just don't think I can get invested with this game either way, honestly. Like, I'm going to hope for a rematch. Fair. I'm going to see what they can do against each other head-to-head and over the next month and a half or so during the CFP. And hopefully we get to revisit that in January, because I think it's going to be a really, really fun one if that's the case. So, Boggs, love everything you came with today. That is going to do it for us on this episode of the Betting Pros College Football Show. Still to come later this week and every week, our official picks and prediction show. Also, Boggs Best Bets and player props picks. That's going to come out on Friday for you. Our official picks will be out on Thursday for you. So let us know down in the comments below your favorite conference championship picks. And while you're here, make sure you're smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you're new. Also, be sure to download that Betting Pros app. Sync your sportsbooks today. Bet smarter, not harder. For Scott Bogman, I'm Seth Woolcock. Take care, y'all.
See ya.